Hello YouTube family, this is Rev from my Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Productions, and you know what time it is. Rev it up. Hello YouTube family and friends, this is Rev from my Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Productions in Conway, South Carolina. I'm here in my garage with Electrobit, the 1999 Ford SVT Mustang Pro Street Cobra. And we've been promising you for a while now that we would do a review over all the mods that we did last year when we started ordering our parts on Cyber Monday. That is the first Monday after Black Friday in November. So for those of you that have been following my YouTube page and my Instagram page, we thank you. We look forward to your comments, your likes, and we ask you to subscribe and support us. We're hoping to get our subscription up. We haven't been posting a lot of videos lately, having a lot of back issues, and especially today. I believe today is August 18th, year 2019 of our Lord, and I am on medication. I'm having difficulty sitting without back support, so I'm not sitting on my mechanic's chair. I have my little picnic chair here with a high back, so we're not able to go to church today. So we're just taking this opportunity to post a quick video here. And the weather has been very extremely hot. We've had some days with the heat indices 104, 105, the actual temperature 99, 100 degrees. And of course we're in the dog days of summer, where we have beautiful morning to mid-afternoons, and then we have afternoon and late evening thunderstorms. And yesterday on August 17th was supposed to be Amazing's Kitchen Cruising, hosted by Carolina Coastal Mustang Club, and unfortunately it was a good thunderstorm yesterday, so we didn't get out to that event. So with that being said, let's get into the first mod that I did on this 99 Cobra. Was the exhaust system. I wanted to do headers because this vehicle with the supercharger, the Vortec 3 supercharger, and the Vortec cold air intake, and the tune on this vehicle with the upgraded injectors, the upgraded intake from Ford, the throttle body upgrade, we were dyno, that pro dyno, at 466 horsepower. And as you know, your standard Mustang, whether it's a Cobra, whether it's a Celine, whether it's a Mach 1, whether it's a GT, the manifold pipes from the factory can withstand 500 horsepower. So right away I knew that I was battling very dangerously close to 500 horsepower. So I had to upgrade the manifolds. And what sparked me to do that is the exhaust system that was on this car was probably on there about 5 years, and it was in good shape. Again, it had the regular manifold pipes from 99. They were extremely rusty, and it had high flow cat exhaust, you had the high flow catted X pipes, and then they had the Series 40 Flowmaster catback, the IRS catback exhaust system. The high flow cats was immaculate. They were very good. The Series 40 Flowmaster muffler was extremely good, but it was the manifold pipes that I was concerned with. But I listened to a lot of exhaust sound clips over a period of a year and decided what I wanted. And so that Cyber Monday, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was starting out calling it my Mustang blog, and that was it. And I didn't know anything about cambers and editing and all that stuff. And the camera was sideways, it wasn't good shots. So, but we've come a long way since, and we're still getting used to this GoPro here that we're using today. But at any rate, back to the exhaust. So what we did, we ordered the BBK ceramic steel tube 1 5/8" Longtube headers. And this is going to be a review over things that I bought. So this is one of the first mods, was to get that. Now, knowing that I had to get the BBK off-road X pipe, okay, to go along with the BBK Longtube headers. I wanted Cooks, but it was a little more expensive, so I went with the BBK ceramic steel coated 1 5/8" Longtube headers for a manual transmission, and this is for the Cobra from 99 to 04. And with that, I had to get the oxygen sensor extension cords to go into the BBK off-road X pipes. Now, if I can give the review about the quality of the project, I'm going to bring in my riding partner. Her name is Spitzabith. Remember, the car name is Electrobith, and she's a Cobra. So Spitzabith is going to help us with our ratings and the difficulty scale on the parts of putting it on. Let me introduce you to Spitzabith. And Spitzabith gets your name because this Cobra is extremely loud and she spits. She'll spit people out. So this is Spitzabith, and she rides in the car with us, and she's a beautiful Cobra, and she sits right on the console in the middle. So we'll be giving 5 Spitzabith snakes for the quality of the vehicle from 1 to 5, the quality of the parts I bought, and 1 out of 5 Spitzabith difficulty on the wrench scale on putting these parts together. So let us put Spitzabith back in her place. Okay. So now, I brought these BBK off-road, the BBK ceramic steel tube long tube headers and the off-road X pipe from Late Model Restoration. I got a very good price on them on Cyber Monday. You get very good deals, 20 to 30% off of these things. And I believe the BBK long tube headers were probably $5.83. I think I got them for $4 and some change. The off-road X pipe BBK, they were probably listed at $2 and some change. I think I got them for about $188. So that was very good. And I had to get the O2 extensions so I can reconnect the O2 sensors into the front portion of it, which goes to the X pipe. Now, as far as quality, I will give them 5 Spitzabiths on quality. I love these off-road X pipes, and I love the steel tube headers. the ceramic coating is supposed to keep them from turning. And so far, we had them worn from November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Well, we're going on total 10 months just about that we had them, and they're still very nice and shiny. Now, on the difficulty scale of installing long tube headers on a new Edge Mustang, I will give that about a 4 on the Spitze scale. You're going to need a jack capable of going up from 27 to at least 29 inches if you don't have a lift to get the car off the ground. You need multiple jacks, another jack to hold the transmission up so that you can lower the transmission or raise it. You're going to need a engine support bar to support the engine up to take the K member off. You're also going to need a cross member that goes on top of the jack, and I will include that in the video clip when I begin editing this. So do I recommend people doing it by themselves? If you're mechanically inclined enough, you have the time to do it, and you know what you're doing, and you have the right tools, yes, you can do it by yourself, as I did. And with my disabilities, it took me 3 months from November to January to do it, because there were days that I couldn't even get out of bed. I was on medication. There were days I was on medication while I was doing it, and I get tired and I have to go take a nap, and then I come back out later and I would finish it. But I had all the right tools and the proper tools to do it. And a lot of people do things the hard way. I took the whole thing out as a unit. So what I did with the vehicle on the ground, and we'll walk over here and I'll show you exactly what I'm saying. Okay. Here. These are the shock bolts, and this is my caster camber plates right here. You'll have caster camber plates anytime you have a lowering suspension. My suspension is lowered. So while the car is on the ground as it is, you don't have to stick nothing like a screwdriver or a torque bit in here to hold that. So to keep that from turning, keep the car on the ground, then loosen these bolts up, and those bolts come right off. And then you can loosen the caster camber plates. And so that's a good way of doing that. And you know, you want to study what you're doing. The more knowledge you have of what you're doing, the better it's going to turn out for you, and it won't be so hard for you to do. Now again, you need the cross member to go over the top. Find a place to bolt the cross member up to the engine support bar to hold the engine up. Have the engine, the car up on jack stands. Be safe. Wear safety goggles and everything, and make sure everything is safe as possible. And you're going to have to take off the front tires. You're going to have to take off the brake calipers, the brake caliper holders. You're going to have to take off the rotors, and you're going to have to tie the rotors up out of their place. You're going to have to take off the fender shrouds. Then you're going to have to loosen up everything that is on top and everything underneath the car that is going to be in the way of dropping the whole K member. And there are 8 bolts that holds in the K member. There's going to be 2 where the shocks go up into. So there'll be 2 on each side, 1 on the driver's side, 1 on the passenger side, and then there'll be 2 bolts on the bottom of the K member on each side. And my K member had a 4-member tubular K member support on it. So it was a long bolt and short bolts to go in here, and that's to keep the car flexible so it doesn't pitch and roll on turns. This has a Kenny Bell lowering suspension kit, subframe members from wheel well to wheel well, and Kenny Bell tubular support all along the chassis to keep the chassis from twisting. This thing was set up to run. And so you have to take loose the power steering hoses that are underneath there, anything that connects to the radiator. I had to take loose my positive battery cable because my battery is in the trunk, because I have a reservoir for my supercharger, which coolant goes in to keep the supercharger cool. So that is in the place of the battery compartment is in the front. So I had to loosen that wire because that wire was wrapped around and twist tied to my K-member. So I had to drop that out of the way. You're going to have to loosen up all the front end components. Your outer tie rods are going to have to come off. You're going to have to take loose mostly all the major front end components are going to be coming off. And since I did need a new power racket pinion steering, I didn't bother to take that out because that's going to come out as a whole. Just loosen up everything from the rackets to pinion system. And I'll have that clip in the video, I hope, to show you that. But that, when you get everything out of the way, now my 29-inch Daytona jack with the cross member bar has a piece on it. It's just like a lift at a shop. You can slide them out, and they got rubber mounts on each of them, and they're about that big around. And then you can twist them up about maybe 6 to 8 inches, or you can keep them down flat. And with that support under there, I was able to put that, jack that up underneath to support the K-member, and I carefully lowered it and pulled out the shocks, and the coils, springs that are in there, they are, like I said, those are lowering springs. So when I lowered the jack, the coils just rolled over. There was no pulling and popping, have to worry about all that pressure. It came right out, and I lowered the whole thing down as a unit and pulled it right out of the way. So then the challenge was to put this back together. So putting it back together, I knew I couldn't lift a 250 pound K-member with, you know, your wheel hub, wheel spindles on it, shocks on it, A-frames on it, you know, racket pinion steering on it. There was no way I was going to put this thing back up in there all by myself. So I decided to do the smart thing. After I painted the K-member, same color of the car, and I clear coated it, I bought new A-members, A-frames, and I put the A-frames in place, and then I put it back on the jack with the cross membrane and put it under there, lined it up, and I put the 8 bolts in there, and I tightened them up to torque, and that way I was able to loosen the engine support mount at that particular time and take off that, and the engine would be supported, and then I can build everything back up piece by piece. And when I looked underneath there, I saw a lot of parts that was rusted and worn out, so that's why I bought a new A-frame. I bought new inner and outer tie rods. I bought the new racket pinion steering. And as always, we thank you for watching our videos. We hope you like the videos that we're presenting to you. We try to bring you cutting edge technology and bringing you the best of Mustangs, old cars, and motorcycles. But mostly Mustangs, because we're Mustang fanatics. So if you like the channel, hit the like button and then subscribe. God bless. Have a wonderful day. This is Rev with Rev It Up Mustang Productions. God bless. 7 hours later. There's the engine support bar holding the engine up. There is the K member with the hubs and racket pinion on my K member. So the K member is gone. There's the old rusty manifold pipe, the original one right there, and on the other side. So you see there's no wheel assembly, no hub, no nothing. Everything is looking good. So now we gonna take these old headers off and probably put the other headers on, and that's it. We're gonna call it a night. I'll show you how it looks around the other side. Same thing. Everything's disassembled. There's the old rusty pipe right there.